Oedipus Rex. Play by Sophocles. About writer. Sophocles, born circa 496 BCE, Kernous, near Athens, Greece, died 406. Athens was one of the three great Greek tragedians. Of his 8 plays, 7 full, 1 fragmented, that remain today, his most famous is Oedipus the King, Oedipus Rex, which is known for its impressive construction and use of dramatic devices. About play. Oedipus Rex, also known by its Greek title, Oedipus Tyrannus, or Oedipus the King, is an Athenian tragedy by Sophocles that was first performed around 429 BC. Originally, to the ancient Greeks, the title was simply Oedipus, as it is referred to by Aristotle in the Poetics. How many plays are in the Oedipus cycle? The Oedipus cycle, full name, Sophocles, Oedipus cycle, Oedipus Rex, Oedipus at Kernous, Antigone, is a book that consists of 3 plays that were originally written by ancient Greek tragedian Sophocles, Oedipus Rex, Oedipus at Kernous, and Antigone. Type of work, play. Genre. Antigone and Oedipus the King are tragedies. Oedipus at Kernous is difficult to classify. Language. Ancient Greek. Time and place written. Oedipus the King around 430 B.C. The play was written and produced in Athens, Greece. Publisher. There is no known publisher of original or early editions. The most important modern edition of the Greek texts, prepared by A. C. Pearson, was published by Oxford University Press in 1924 and reprinted with corrections in 1928. The main idea of Oedipus the King by Sophocles is that one cannot defy the gods without suffering severe consequences. The play is about Oedipus, the king of Thebes, who inadvertently kills his father and ends up marrying his mother. Even when the terrible truth is revealed, he remains in denial. What is the central action or purpose of Oedipus the King? The action of the play revolves around the quest of Oedipus to discover the identity of the murderer of Laius who has brought the wrath of the gods down upon the city. The main tragic action is the discovery of the identity of the murderer. What is plot of Oedipus Rex? The plot. The plot of Oedipus Rex is a straightforward interpretation of a Greek myth. When the king and queen of Thebes give birth to a son, Oedipus, an oracle tells them that their child will kill his father. To avoid this, the king, Laius, orders the child to have his feet broken and then be left for dead. Themes of the play. Fate vs. Free will. Guilt and shame. Sight vs. Blindness. Finding out the truth. Action vs. Reflection. Oedipus Rex or Oedipus the King character list. Oedipus. Oedipus is the king of Thebes, married to Jocasta. He is unaware, at the start of the play, that he has murdered his father and slept with his mother. Soon he learns that it was he that put his kingdom at such terrible risk, and blinds himself using a brooch. He has a telltale limp, a piercing wound in his ankles, made as a child by the father who exposed him. This echoes his name, which roughly translates as swollen feet. In line with most tragic heroes, Oedipus has a clear hamartia, or tragic flaw, which precipitates his woeful fate. In this case, it's his pride, which allows him to disbelieve the gods and hunt the source of a plague instead of looking inside himself. That said, Oedipus' hamartia is not always so clear, since it appears that his prideful sins occurred long before the start of the play. Indeed, Oedipus' greatest sin appears to take place when he kills a man at a roadside in a fit of temper, suggesting that no deed goes unpunished. Ultimately, however, Oedipus must pay the price for dismissing Tiresias' judgment in the oracle's prophecy, as yet another reminder that the gods are infinitely more powerful than men. Jocasta. Jocasta is the wife and mother of Oedipus and queen of Thebes. Before marrying Oedipus, she was married to Laius. She commits suicide at the end of the play, perhaps in guilt that she left Oedipus to die as a baby, thus precipitating his course towards a tragic end for their whole family. Tiresias. Tiresias is the blind prophet, led by a small boy, who knows the truth about Oedipus's parentage. Oedipus calls on him to find Laius's killer but becomes furious when Tiresias claims that Oedipus himself is the killer. Tiresias's words, however, prove true ultimately, suggesting that he is a mouthpiece for the gods and an oracle to be trusted far more than the convictions and hopes of man. Tiresias is often represented as being part male, part female in classical literature. Creon. Creon is Jocastor's brother, who shares 1/3 of Thebes' riches with Oedipus and Jocasta. He is a devout follower of the oracle of Apollo, and as the play opens, he is returning from the oracle with the news that Laius's killer must be found. He is a loyal friend to Oedipus, and ultimately remains forgiving and kind to Oedipus even when Oedipus turns on him and suggests he is conspiring against him. He is to take over Thebes after Oedipus' exile. Creon also takes center stage in Sophocles' play, Antigone, which adds another chapter to Oedipus' doomed lineage. Messenger from Corinth. The messenger from Corinth arrives to tell Oedipus that his father, Polybus, is dead, and that the people of Corinth wish Oedipus to be their new king. He also reveals to Oedipus, however, that Polybus and Merope are not his real parents. He says that long ago a stranger from Thebes gave him a baby as a gift to the king and queen of Corinth. This baby was, of course, Oedipus, who would grow up to be king himself. The messenger, then, provides the audience with the first real clue of dramatic irony that suggests that Tiresias' words, and those of the oracle, are true, long before Oedipus discovers their veracity. Herdsman. The herdsman gives Lais and Jocasta's baby to the messenger upon their orders, and is also the same man who witnessed Laius's death. When he returns to Thebes and sees that the man who killed Laius is the new king, he asks leave to flee from the city. Oedipus sends for him when the messenger alludes to his intimate knowledge of the crime, in the hopes of discovering the identity of his true parents. He then reveals that the baby he gave to the messenger was Laius and Jocasta's son, adding one of the last pieces to the puzzle that will implicate Oedipus as the source of the kingdom's plague. Priest. The priest's followers make sacrifices to the gods at the beginning of the play, hoping that the gods will lift the plague that has struck the city. At this point, the followers believe that the gods have punished the city for some sin that must be rooted out. Oedipus, then, takes it upon himself to visit the oracle to determine whose sin it is and for how it might be atoned. Second messenger. The second messenger is a servant of Oedipus and Jocasta who tells Oedipus in the chorus of Jocasta's suicide. Ismene and Antigone. Ismene and Antigone are Oedipus's young daughters who are led out at the end of the play. Oedipus laments the fact that they will never find husbands with such a cursed lineage and begs Creon to take care of them. Antigone, in the Oedipus at Cernus, will become her father's guide. Chorus of Theban Elders. The Chorus of Theban Elders is a group of men who serve as an emotional sounding board and expositional device in the play, reflecting on the plot developments while asking important philosophical questions. The chorus speaks as one person, but occasionally, single chorus members would have delivered lines. They might be considered somewhat meta-theatrical, operating within the confines of the play while also having the power to step outside the boundaries of the mundane plot. Oedipus Rex or Oedipus the King summary. When the play opens, Thebes is suffering a plague which leaves its fields and women barren. Oedipus, the king of Thebes, has sent his brother-in-law, Creon, to the house of Apollo to ask the oracle how to end the plague. Creon returns, bearing good news, Once the killer of the previous king, Laius, is found, Thebes will be cured of the plague. Laius was Jocasta's husband before she married Oedipus. Hearing this, Oedipus swears he will find the murderer and banish him. The chorus, representing the people of Thebes, suggests that Oedipus consult Tiresias, the blind prophet. Oedipus tells them that he has already sent for Tiresias. When Tiresias arrives, he seems reluctant to answer Oedipus's questions, warning him that he does not want to know the answers. Oedipus threatens him with death, and finally Tiresias tells him that Oedipus himself is the killer, and that his marriage is a sinful union. Oedipus takes this as an insult and jumps to the conclusion that Creon paid Tiresias to say these things. Furious, Oedipus dismisses him, and Tiresias goes, repeating as he does, that Laius's killer is right here before him, a man who is his father's killer and his mother's husband, a man who came seeing but will leave in blindness. Creon enters, asking the people around him if it is true that Oedipus slanderously accused him. The chorus tries to mediate, but Oedipus appears and charges Creon with treason. Jocasta and the chorus beg Oedipus to be open-minded. Oedipus unwillingly relents and allows Creon to go. Jocasta asks Oedipus why he is so upset and he tells her what Tiresias prophesied. Jocasta comforts him by telling him that there is no truth in oracles or prophets, and she has proof. Long ago an oracle told Laius that his own son would kill him, and as a result he and Jocasta gave their infant son to a shepherd to leave out on a hillside to die with a pin through its ankles. Yet Laius was killed by robbers, not by his own son, proof that the oracle was wrong. But something about her story troubles Oedipus. She said that Laius was killed at a place where three roads meet, and this reminds Oedipus of an incident from his past, when he killed a stranger at a place where three roads met. He asks her to describe Laius, and her description matches his memory. Yet Jocasta tells him that the only eyewitness to Laius's death, a herdsman, swore that 5 robbers killed him. Oedipus summons this witness. While they wait for the man to arrive, Jocasta asks Oedipus why he seems so troubled. Oedipus tells her the story of his past. Once when he was young, a man he met told him that he was not his father's son. He asked his parents about it, and they denied it. Still it troubled him, and he eventually went to an oracle to determine his true lineage. The oracle then told him that he would kill his father and marry his mother. This prophecy so frightened Oedipus that he left his hometown and never returned. On his journey, he encountered a haughty man at a crossroads, and killed the man after suffering an insult. Oedipus is afraid that the stranger he killed might have been Laius. If this is the case, Oedipus will be forever banished both from Thebes, the punishment he swore for the killer of Laius, and from Corinth, his hometown. If this eyewitness will swear that robbers killed Laius, then Oedipus is exonerated. He prays for the witness to deliver him from guilt and from banishment. Oedipus and Jocasta enter the palace to wait for him. Jocasta comes back out of the palace, on her way to the holy temples to pray for Oedipus. A messenger arrives from Corinth with the news that Oedipus's father, Polybus, is dead. Overjoyed, Jocasta sends for Oedipus, glad that she has even more proof in the uselessness of oracles. Oedipus rejoices, but then states that he is still afraid of the rest of the oracle's prophecy, that he will marry his mother. The messenger assures him that he need not fear approaching Corinth, since Merope, his mother, is not really his mother, and moreover, Polybus wasn't his father either. Stunned, Oedipus asks him how he came to know this. The messenger replies that years ago a man gave a baby to him and he delivered this baby to the king and queen of Corinth, a baby that would grow up to be Oedipus the king. The injury to Oedipus's ankles is a testament to the truth of his tale, because the baby's feet had been pierced through the ankles. Oedipus asks the messenger who gave the baby to him, and he replies that it was one of Laius's servants. Oedipus sends his men out to find this servant. The messenger suggests that Jocasta should be able to help identify the servant and help unveil the true story of Oedipus's birth. Suddenly understanding the terrible truth, Jocasta begs Oedipus not to carry through with his investigation. Oedipus replies that he swore to unravel this mystery, and he will follow through on his word. Jocasta exits into the palace. Oedipus again swears that he will figure out the secret, no matter how wild the answer is. The chorus senses that something bad is about to happen and join Jocasta's cry in begging the mystery to be left unresolved. Oedipus's men lead in an old shepherd, who is afraid to answer Oedipus's questions. But finally he tells Oedipus the truth. He did in fact give the messenger a baby boy, and that baby boy was Laius's son, the same son that Jocasta and Laius left on a hillside to die because of the oracle's prophecy. Finally the truth is clear. Devastated, Oedipus exits into the palace. A messenger reveals that he grabbed a sword and searched for Jocasta with the intent to kill her. Upon entering her chamber, however, he finds that she has hanged herself. He takes the gold brooches from her dress and gouges his eyes out. He appears on stage again, blood streaming from his now blind eyes. He cries out that he, who has seen and done such wild things, shall never see again. He begs the chorus to kill him. Creon enters, having heard the entire story, and begs Oedipus to come inside, where he will not be seen. Oedipus begs him to let him leave the city, and Creon tells him that he must consult Apollo first. Oedipus tells him that banishment was the punishment he declared for Laius's killer, and Creon agrees with him. Before he leaves forever, however, Oedipus asks to see his daughters and begs Creon to take care of them. Oedipus is then led away, while Creon and the girls go back in the palace. The chorus, alone, laments Oedipus' tragic fate and his doomed lineage.